Intrican, and this is my This I Believe video for Recreation 110. I wanted to start off with a couple quotes that I thought were a pretty good description of how I feel about recreation, leisure, and play. The first one is, if bread is the first necessity of life, recreation is a close second, and that was said by Edward Bellamy. And I think that that's so important, and it means a lot to me because recreation has always played such an important part of my life, and it has always been a necessity to me, and I believe it should be a necessity in everybody's life. Recreation and leisure and play so many different roles in our lives that without it, our lives would be completely different. They would be boring. We wouldn't have nearly as many skills, or we wouldn't be able to learn them as easily or as early on in our lives. And so I definitely agree with what Bellamy said about if, bread is the first necessity, then recreation should definitely be the second. The other one is actually a very famous quote that I think everybody has heard at least once in their lifetime. And that quote is, we do not stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. And I think, and that is said by George Bernard Shaw. And I think that that is also such a strong quote because everybody has the ability in them to play. Everybody in them has that childish sense. I mean, if you learn about the different employee recreation systems, it's very easy to bring out the child in adults, even no matter how old they are. They could be in their 40s, 50s, 60s. But recreation brings that out in so many people. And so once you stop playing is when you grow old. But when you continue to play, you will forever have that childish side of you that continues to keep you involved in recreation. One of the reasons that I think recreation, leisure, and play are also so important is because of the different perceptions that recreation, leisure, and play can have to every different person. Recreation and leisure and play can all have a different meaning to me than it can to someone else. There are different leisure meanings. Leisure can mean an activity to me, but a state of mind to my suite mate, or a time frame to a classmate. So like state of mind meaning their sense of freedom, and an activity meaning a sport or an activity, and time meaning any kind of leisure free time that they have, which is why leisure is so important, is because it's something that makes us who we are and allows us to shape who we are, even from a very young age. And there's also the different motivations that people have, whether it be their intrinsic, their outer motivations, their need to want to find something new, to discover, to pursue goals. There's so many different motivations, and all of those play a small piece in creating people to be who they're meant to be. And without recreation, and without having those motivations to play into recreation, we wouldn't be able to achieve those same goals and those same characteristics that we would with leisure and recreation and play. Another quote that I also saw that was from the Parks and Recreation Professionals Handbook was, recreation is an activity that people engage in during their free time that they enjoy and has socially redeeming values. And the reason that this stuck out to me was because I noticed that people can have one of these things that gives them the idea of recreation, or they can have two of them or all three of them, and it could be any variation. Some people might do a recreation activity because it's something that lets them have something to do in their free time. They could also do it just because they enjoy it. They could do it just because of the socially redeeming values, or any one of the three, two of the three. And again, it plays back to creating us to be who we are. It all plays back to making us who we are. And I have a personally deep-rooted belief in the fact that without recreation, I would not be anywhere near the person that I am today. I grew up in the recreation field. I grew up in a very small town where there wasn't a lot to do, especially for kids and especially for teens. The only thing that I had to do was our local municipal recreation department, and my mom and dad were very strong, in their beliefs that I needed to have an outlet. So they started enrolling me in all these different programs and activities, whether they be drop-in or enrollment or sports or anything like that they could through our municipal recreation department. And even once I aged out of them, I would show up and be like, hey, can I help? So once I turned 15, the coordinator of those activities and stuff gave me a job, and I worked there for 6 years until I moved to San Jose. And honestly, while I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life when I went to college, I had to sit down and really think, what is something you could do for the rest of your life? And it made me feel really stupid when I finally realized you have been doing this for your whole life and you love it. So when I finally realized that recreation is what makes me me, it's when I decided that recreation was really what was important. Without the recreation activities growing up, without the leisure that I got after school of being able to go to these activities and just let go, make friends, make crafts, play games, whatever it was, do cooking classes, and the play of sports, of playing games, all of those gave me different characteristics that I wouldn't have been able to have without all of those. And now getting to go into recreation for the rest of my life, hopefully, I get to see that change in other kids as well, and even some adults. And honestly, I love getting to see the people that these children, these adults, these grandparents, sisters, brothers that they turn into, because they come in as one person and they change every single time that you see them. And that's what I believe is the importance of recreation, leisure, and play, is making us who we are meant to be.